So today the concept what we are going to is import set. The concept is import set is nothing but so data loading in bulk. It's simple. Why we need to data loading in bulk? So for example, if you want to create anything, the user will create a record in ServiceNow and all the things we can do. The thing was the next step what we will do it here is if it is a one two records they can enter manually and they don't have any issues, but if it is a multiple records then what we can do it is so multiple records we cannot do, right? If it is a one or two we can go for a one. So if it is a 10 records also we can do the multiple. It is a hundreds of records. What happened, we cannot add those data one by one. So if you add the data one by one, so what happened, whatever the time for it is equality or something will be taken care by the something. So now what we can do it is the data loading. So by using ServiceNow, we can load the data for the same thing. So if you want to do the data loading, so generally the data will in the Excel sheet. From Excel to we will load the data into ServiceNow. In the ServiceNow, we will store it in the staging table, which means temporarily we will store the data in that one. From the staging table to we will use the transform map. So transform map is nothing but it's a map. What we can do it is so from the Excel to ServiceNow we'll do it in the ServiceNow that we will called as a staging table. So from the staging table, what we will do it is we will load the data. So from the transform map to what we will do is we will do to the destination table. So this is the standard, or we can call it as a target table. Now that means if the whatever that data in that Excel sheet, we will temporarily store, we will load it to the service now, and we will temporarily storing in that staging table. And in the staging table what happens, the transform map has to done it in the staging table. In the transform map we will add it on what is the source table and what is the target table and all other things. So that is the one thing. Now the next step what we can do it here is, so that's fine. The staging table in the transform map, we will go to the what is the source table and target table, and after that we will go to the field mapping. So which field to which field we have to map it. For example, in the Excel sheet it was ABC, but in the service instance it was XYZ. So that we can configure the same thing, and we can go to the data will load to the target table. So this is the complete import set how functionality work in the a simple thing. A similar simply again I am explaining. So what are the data, whether it's an Excel sheet or a CSV or whatever the format, we will load into the service now, and we will store those data in the staging table. And once you're stored in staging table by using transform map, in the transform map what we will do is we will create what is a source table and what is a destination table. which is a target table is nothing but which table we need to load the data. That's the one. And once we have done the same thing, next step what we have to do it is staging data in the transfer map. We have to do the field mapping. So for example, assume that we are using user data. So in the Excel sheet it was a F name, but actually in the service it was a first name. Like that. So what are the Excel sheet data? We will load into the same thing here. So this is the thing. And from transfer map to we will load the data into the target table. So this is the basic thing about the how this import set functionality will work. I hope you guys clear or any confusion on this one. This is the fundamental. Clear? Please, if you're not, I will explain because so this is the concept. Mostly the interview will ask how we will load into the system. Most of the people will confuse it. Simple. What are the data we are in? We are temporarily storing in the staging table, and from that staging table and this staging table also we will create it. That is import set table. So from that staging table to we will configure transform maps, and from the transform map what we will do it is we will load the data into the same thing target table. In the transform map we will have the field map all the stuff. Now we will do the same thing for it. How we can do it? I'm just so I'm just creating an Excel sheet. So for data loading. So I'm just making. So here we have a table work order, right? So in the work order we will create those one how we can load the data. So what are the fields we have? So here, for example, see work order, right? This is the company. So next one user, next one application, module. These two. Next one impact. Next one urgency. So this is the data we will load into the system. So for example, so here the company, right? It since it is a name, sir. Next user. So here what happened? We will give the user email ID for the same thing. So this is the one for the application, right? So for the application, what we will write is we will write the backend value of the same thing. So if you go to the application, so for example, I'm just going to the CSM. So here, what are the backend value? We can give the same thing for the CSM. And if you go to the module, what are the related with the CSM? So case, for example, for this one case, impact is we are just give me a minute. So here impact also there. For this impact, what was the backend values we have created? See what are the backend values we have created. That only we can, or else it will be problem for us. Same thing. So high, medium, low. So impact high. So here I'm just making medium is low. So this is the data. And for this one, I'm just creating a two cases. This is with the low. This is the application is CSM and module is account. These two. Now this data I need to load here Abel tutor, right? So here I'm just giving a different user. So if I open this one, Abel. So Lincoln, Abraham Lincoln. So here now this data, assume that this is an Excel sheet. This data we need to load into the system for the same. So at the time, what we have to do? I hope you got it right. What to do here? You are still in a confusion. So this is clear, right? What is the data we need to load into system? So now, what I'm going to do is I'm just saving this Excel sheet. And now, what the next step? We need to load the data into one. If you want to load the data, just click on load data. It will come here. So data load. Click on leave. So here we refer the word called staging table, but here we don't have any staging table. So that means what we will do it is, if there is no staging table, what we can do it is, if there is no staging table, so I'm just making so work order data. So make sure that there is no spaces. See, if there's spaces, it will create as one. And here file. If you go to the file, so where we have desktop demo, this is our Excel sheet. Forget about the name of the Excel sheet one also, and we have it. And here, what is the sheet number and row number? What is it? We have to take it. So it has taken from the header one and sheet one. So that's the thing we can do it and click on the submit. Now, what happened? There is a table will be created automatically here. See, if you go to the one import set, forget about import set. So if you go to the one, I'm just reloading this one. So here, one in the staging table as, let me check whether we create or not. Yeah. So this the table is automatically created. See, right? This was extended from import set row table. If you go to the list of it, that means how many records. This is the records, right? We have added. I'm just making a favorite. So if I open, this is the one. So company impact module application, so user, these are the fields we have added. So five fields, then we can add the same thing. Now, so this is the loader data which we have configured from the system to here. That means the data which we are configuring. So what are the data we have added? We have loaded into the system. Now the next step is, what we have to do it is, so we have to create a transform map. What is transform map? Transform map is a map where we can configure the same thing. If you want to create a transform, you can just go to create, directly create this URL, that is a your action. From that, we can create a transform app. So for the source table, we don't have. Just click on new. I'm just making here work order. Work order database. So whatever it may be, it will be added here. And the next one, the source table. What is a source table here? The source table is nothing but what was the table it was we have here. And the target table, if you go to the target table, what was the target table? So the work order, right? So why this is not done? Because that application scope is different now. So just go to the work order scope. This is the scope issue. This is the work order scope. We'll do it, and we can add the same thing. And if you want to run any business rule in any, we can write anything for the same thing. So here, so we can write it, and these are the copy empty fields, enforce mandatory. That means in that, if any mandatory field were there, so we can go for the same thing here. So now we can add it, and we can try to incoming voice call, save it. So this is the thing, we can do the same thing now. So we have created a transform map. So the next step is here, we have to create a field mapping. So what was the field mapping? So field mapping here, if you want to, we can use the mapping instance, or else you can click on the auto mapping field. So if you create auto mapping field, what was the exact name is missed it, match it, it will create the same thing for it. So this is the thing, we can add the same thing. See, source field, that means in the staging table, it will be the urgency. So the target table also go to the urgency. So these are all done. Now if I go to the one here, we have an issue. So since it is a reference field, so we have to give the reference field name. So for example, it's email, right? So whatever the email id field in that user table, it has to match the same thing. And also this choice action also, you can ignore it. That means if you give the choice action, if that choice is not available, it will create a new choice. So we don't need that one. So this is the one thing. And next one, and go to the company. So company also reference field, right? So this is the one. Next, urgency, impact, and motive. And here in the Excel sheet, you can remember. I think there is a one thing is missed it. The application is missed it. So we have not yet configured. That's okay. Here urgency. So we can ignore the choice. Impact. You can ignore the choice. If you click on new. So what was the source field here? The application. So the application, and what was the target field? So this is the application. You can see in the source field we have application, and target field this is application. So that's the reason it didn't map clearly. So remaining thing urgency everything, since those are the complete thing, we can add a thing for it. I hope it clear, right? Hello, can you hear me? So that means what are the names and fields exactly, those will map automatically for the same thing here. So this is the one thing, and the next step here. So now what we did it here, it is from the Excel to we loading the data into ServiceNow, and from ServiceNow to we create a transform map, and from the transform map to we have created a field mapping. From here we need to transfer the data into the system, right? So if I open this one and see here, if you want to just click on the transform, or else you can go to import set. What is import set? Whatever the data we loaded, it will be stored in the import set. This is the one. See here, just imports it. What are the data we have? It will show it. For example, if you open, okay, this is not there. Now just click on transform. This is the one. This imports it, and here also, whenever if you are loading a data by using transform map, so there is a one functionality you have to check it. Right now on this target table, there is a only one transform map. So if it is a only one, what we have to do it, we have to do it is, if it is a only one, we have to do for the same thing here. So now click on transform. Multiple things is available, we can check it, and if I open this one, the data is inserted, successfully loaded. So if I go to the work order, if you go to the list, see when it was created. Okay, let me check. So these two we have to do for the same thing. See, the ASR is came, able tutor is came, CSM is came, KS is came, and the high impact and is there. And these are all things. What are the fields? It was automatically came. See, KS, CSM, Abraham Lincoln, account. These are all came. So I hope it clear. Or any confusion still, guys? This is a very important topic. So If you are clear, then only I can go for the next step. If you're not clear, let me know. We can start from the scratch onwards. From starting onwards, I don't have any issues. Yes. So if it is a ignore, what we will do it is ignore is nothing but, so if the choice action is not available, what happens? It will create a new choice. So here in this case, we don't require a new choice, right? So what we will do it is, if you don't require a new choice, so what we have to do for the same thing. So if there is no choice is available, then what we have to do it is, we have to do for the next steps. If there is no choice is not, sorry, if you don't want to create a choice, so we don't want this one. Okay, so this is the one. Now, so like this one, that's the reason we have created a ignore. If you create a new create one, what happens if you create a new choice? If you ignore, it will not create a record for this. So this is the one. Now, if you see this one load data, this is the one. Now, what I'm going to do it is, so for these two, right, for CSM, now I am going to, okay, so look, I'm just going to downloading this as an Excel sheet. For example, I just want to make a few changes here. So it's not a problem. If I open this one, so this is the one. So we don't require created field, insert, and now here, so we don't require these two also. Here email ID, right? So here, so I will add a email ID of those two. So for example, this is the available total, right? So I just want to update this to different user. For example, the user is Andrew Woj. For example, Andrew Woj. Assume that. I just want to change this to Andrew Woj. So assume that. And also there is a one more record. So for this one, I don't want to from the Abraham Lincoln to maybe I can pick any different name. So these two is fine. Now the next step, I want to update these two scenarios. Now the next step is what we have to do it is, the next scenario is we want to add one more creative. So here I'm just giving a, so 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 since it is a backend values, we have to go for the account. So next, I'm just going to impact urgency, urgency. So low, 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 low. So I'm just creating it one as a high. So I'm just creating an ITSM. So for the ITSM, what are the backend values we have given? The application I'm just giving as ITSM. I just want to create a one thing. If we go to the ITSM, incident and problem. So let me open this module. What are the backend values we have given? So if we go to the ITSM, so the incident and problem. So the module I'm just giving as a company's answer the same thing. Incident. So we want to pick a different user. For example, so asset manager. For example, so I have given all these values. So here I'm just giving as a problem. So this is the one. Next step. So here I'm picking a different value. Boy rugby. So the boy rugby is what we will do. It is here. So now in this case, what happened? We have to update two records and we have to create a new records. Right? In that Excel sheet is consist of there are few records already, but since there is number field is not there, so what we can do it is we can do something. So in the staging table, that's a staging table, right? So there we don't have a number. So just go to the favorites. These are staging table. As we don't have a number field, we will add a one more number here. Open this one. No, oh my god, oh my god. Sorry. So I will create a one. Okay, this is a scope issue. Okay, that's fine. So this is the one. So now, so the number field we have added. Now the next step, if you go to the transform map, if I open this transform map, in the transform map also we need to add the data, add this mapping. Since this number field is newly added, we don't have. So we can go to the mapping assist. If you click on that mapping assist, what it will happen is, so there we have. So recently, what is the number? What happened? So number, and here the number to the number. Oh my god. Save this one. So number to number. Now what I am going to do is I just want to load this data. So save it. Now, guys, please, if you not understand, let me know. This is a very important topic. So I don't want to confusion this. So if you go to this one, so it is on here create table. So since we have already a create table, we just go to the existing table. And what is the table here? Work order data load, and we can do it and load file. Go to the downloads. This is the one we loaded, and also file naming. We don't have issues, but the extension should be XLS or XLS, and the same concept and load. 1 minute. 1 minute. We have a issue here. So the application will not feel right. The application. So it should be the application. So what we are doing is again we will load a new thing. So we will ignore this one. If you load this one, this is a issue. So we will ignore this one. Existing table and load data, work order, and submit sheet number one. Import sets. So which is the latest one? So this is the latest one we uploaded, and here if If you open this one, so now the import set is nothing but variant, and also you can see the state is pending, target record is nothing here. And if you go to the transform, it will go to the transfer. Since here we have only one transform map, so we don't have any issues for the same thing. Transform, click on here, click here, see, insert. See what here happened is inserted. But there is no updation happened here, right? So if you open work order data, see there are four records as created, right? So but actually our concept is we need to update the data, right? Update, and we need to insert the data, but it didn't happen, correct? So did we miss anything? But we didn't miss anything, right? We have followed the same steps, right? Guys, I hope you are getting your confusion. We have followed the same steps, but actually what happened, the data has to update, but it didn't happen, right? So this is the interview scenario. The interviewer may ask how, why the data is not loaded to the system. This is the interview scenario. Then what we can we will answer it. So assume that I have a 10 records in the Excel sheet, 6 records as to update, and remaining 4 records as to insert into the data. That means those records is already existing in the instance. So we need to update it. If that is not available, we need to create a fresh record. This is the interview scenario. Then how we can achieve this one? So, but what did we miss anything in the process? No, right? But why it was not there? Why? Because here there is a one thing we missed it. So in the system, for example, if you are working in a company, so how many members will be there? For example, if you take a Ajay is the company, in one company, how many Ajays will be possible? Can we imagine? So we don't know, right? There is a chance to multiple users, correct? How we can recognize them? How we can recognize them? He is Ajay and he is something. How we can recognize them? So what was the unique ID for this one? For example, if it is a college, so there is a many and Ajay was there. How we can identify them? Surname is also same. There is may possible to surname also same, right? Then how? So there is a called roll number, right? Roll number is unique, right? So it cannot be same for the any two persons. So like this scenario, what we have to do it is the scenario, the live things, what we can do it. So here the number field is unique, right? Whenever you fill here we have an option called coalesce. Coalesce, when you mark as a true, whenever if your coalesce is true, whenever we are creating a record, it will check whether that record is available or not. If that is available, it will update the record, or else it will create a fresh record. I hope it clear or any confusion. What is the use of coalesce? See, for this one two. So here now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to load data. Let me show it an example. Oh my god, this is not load data. Create no existing data load and go to the desktop demo in the Excel sheet which we have given the earlier. No, no, no. Sorry, guys, this is the wrong thing. Load data. Nothing. We just selected the wrong sheet. Go to the downloads, submit it, imports it. So open this, transform. Oh my god. See, so it has been skipped it. Why it was skipped it? Number is empty. Okay. That number field is not copied. So let me open the table. Okay. So what we can do is there is a two tables, two number fields was there. So that's the issue. Now what we are going to do is I'm just checking. We have created one field, so we have created a wrong field. So let me. So let me check. So the issue was this is the. So I think there is a some scope issue. So what happened? We just work order field. What is the scope we created? Just work order. Okay. Let me check this table in which scope. Sorry, this table is a global scope. We just want it. So what I am going to do is I'm just going to delete this column. So here I'm just going to create a new field. I'm just change the scope to global. So there is some scope issues will come. Let me check. So let me open it in the Excel sheet. So how we can return this one? Okay, I'm just adding work order number. So worker number and submit. Now let's see what it happens. Just go to the transform app, work order load. So now again we have this different scope. So this is the wrong field. So let me open. So since we deleted work number to the number field. So let's see. Now again we'll load the data and we'll check it. Transform. Directly go to the transform map. Transform. See here what happened. It too is updated, but those two is unable. See if I open this one, the records whatever we changed it got updated, right? See here we can see earlier what are the values we are given. It was updated. So it was not created. Why? Because so we have see here there is a issue. Let me skip it. So work number is empty. That was not done. So here, if you go to the run history, because it was empty, so now what we have to configure it is whenever we are configuring here. So if I give as a colask as empty, save it. So and also one more thing. See, copy empty fields. I will just make this. See here, create any correct empty colask fields. This we have not marked as a true. That's the reason it was not loaded. Now again, I will load the data again. Load data, submit, transform. See it here. Here, those two is not inserted because ignored because there is no field value changes because what are the Excel sheet we have been already uploaded the same thing. So that is a one thing we can do for it. I hope it clear or any confusion. Yep. So this is the one. So now today this is the topic for today. So please note on the task for today. Create a table. That means create a load the Excel sheet into the your table. So at least 10 records you can configure how we are configured now. And once you that is the first time. Second time onwards, you need to make a one unique field. From that unique field, you have to load the data. If you actually 20 records, 10 is inserted and 10 should be updated. So that is a scenario you have to do it. So I hope it clear. This is the task for today. Anyone has any questions on the task? Any questions on the task? Okay, very good. So this is the task for today. And any questions on the today's topic? This is a little bit confusion topic. So if you have practiced multiple times, the confusion is completed. Okay, fine. So any questions for the previous topics? We have the 7 minutes.